Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Green activists are arguing with industry, they're clashing with them because of course they are, over the DRS. They're saying industry is dragging its feet and all the usual rubbish that the Greens come up with constantly, even though there's no evidence. And so they're saying, they're going now to Rishi Sunak and they're saying, please Rishi, please let the DRS through, give them the exemption and all that rubbish. But Rishi Sunak is holding firm. He's saying no, they haven't put the paperwork in effectively. And anyway, there's a UK-wide scheme coming soon. Hold your breath. And so there's this fight going on between the two sort of wings, if you will. But they're saying that it is just spinning nostalgia. They're saying they're going back to the good old days and all this, and there's no realism in anything they're proposing. So let's have a look at this story, see what's going on, see why Rishi's being dragged into what is effectively a Scottish problem. I know that they keep trying to do this because they're trying to find desperately a way of pushing the bill onto Westminster, but that's a video I've done. But we should have a look at this one now to say that they're living in a sort of a false world. Here goes. So, environmental activists' DRS plea to Rishi Sunak leads to a clash with industry, who say they are spinning nostalgia. Green charities have clashed with retailers and drinks producers over a campaign to get the attention of the Prime Minister amid tensions over Lorna Slater's failed useless bottling recycling scheme, which has got zero chance of happening. A social media campaign urging Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to give the green light to the increasingly unviable deposit return scheme is no more than a nostalgic spin, says an at-risk wine shop. The Association for the Protection of Rural Scotland and Friends of the Earth wrote a letter to the UK government and released images of Scotland's littered countryside. But industry members say pro-DRS folk are missing the serious concerns and the responsibility of the Scottish Government. You can send pictures of bottles everywhere. That isn't the problem of the bottle industry. That isn't a problem of the drinks industry. That is a problem of people. It's not the industry that is responsible for leaving these bottles there. Far from it. The industry wouldn't mind you bringing them back. But that is a people problem, not an industry problem. And if you have an issue, you need to change people's minds on what they do with their litter. And there's no point getting Rishi involved. He knows quite well that there's a UK-wide coming soon, end of next year, beginning of 2025, I think it is. And so he's not really going to lift much of a finger to help this Scottish one, which goes actually against the policy that the UK government are bringing in, because their one has actually been thought out. It's amazing, isn't it, the difference that makes. Anyway, these two groups say, if you spot a bottle or can, return it to Rishi, said the charities, who've urged Mr Sunak to directly intervene to ensure the DRS is not axed and can come into force next year as planned. UK government ministers have already stepped in to say that any failure of the scheme is the fault of Scottish ministers. The UK are not putting their hands up to this. They're not taking this. They're not having £500 million coming out of their pocket when this is entirely a Lorna Slater problem. St Andrew's Wine Company, which is preparing to lose around 70% of its stock if the DRS comes into force, reacted to the images, many of which appear to come from local litter pickers, and the owner said not one bottle of wine or spirits are in any of them. The Fife wine store is among those calling for the exclusion of glass from the scheme. The shop added, the pro-DRS folk are spinning this with nostalgia of fresh-faced children clearing up all this litter to get their sweetie money. The concept of a DRS is not a bad one. The issue is that the Scottish scheme is incredibly badly designed and will not work. And we have been saying this since the day it was announced. It is so appallingly bad, it is so expensive, and it is open to fraud. And of course now, even if it fails, and I pointed this out before in a previous video, that even if it fails, there's a man on a contract. He's going to earn £300,000 a year for about 5 years, even if it's cancelled. Nice work if you can get it. Anyway, this, they say, has nothing to do with Rishi Sunak. All the faults of this lie with Lorna Slater and Scott Gov. They are the ones that have messed it up. And then there's a couple of those pictures, and you can see, and it's just pictures found. Well, you walk around any town, you're going to find that. But that's not the drinks industry. That's people who've left that there. Archie McDermott, for a fellow Fife retailer from Luvian's Bottle Shop, also weighed in on the topic. He said, I still want a DRS running in Scotland, and so do most business, and so do the vast majority of small Scottish drinks businesses, most of whom tend to be lefty tree huggers just like me. But what we oppose is this DRS. It is a disaster for everyone. It won't help the environment. No, it won't. It won't help the environment. It'll be very costly. It's very unpopular. There's a lot of waste in the system. And as I say, it's just the most ill thought out concept. It was designed by morons, and you can tell. Food and drink professor, well, he wishes. Food and drink professional Kelvin Thompson said, it's strange. No comment from them or the others supporting today's return to Rishi about the numerous issues with the DRS scheme as proposed. They seem to have missed the valid concerns coming from producers, hospitality and retailers about it. Why do APRS Scotland support a flawed DRS that will fail in its objective? This will result in less recycling, not more. Let's work together to ensure a system that benefits everyone and achieves the goal of increased recycling while minimising costs for consumers and businesses. Now, this is the thing. Nobody objects. No one with a brain objects to recycling. Recycling is paramount. It is absolutely brilliant. No problem. None at all. If nothing else, it gets rubbish off the streets. But also, a lot of stuff can be reused. A lot of it can't, unfortunately, but a lot of it can be reused. And that's always good. But also, having all your rubbish in one place is much, much better thing anyway. So nobody objects to recycling, and nobody objects particularly to recycling things that can be completely recycled. Glass, for example, can just be melted down again, reformed. They're starting to develop plastics that can be used in different ways. Or even plastics that can't be used again in that form can be cut up into tiny things and used in other products. You know, and it can be spin out. I've got a pair of socks I bought from Liberty's that were actually made from old plastic bottles, and they're very comfortable socks, I may say. So there are other things that can be made from these things. So yes, everyone agrees. Recycling good. This return scheme, terrible. Absolutely terrible. I remember, and if go a little trip down memory lane, I'm sure I won't be the only one who remembers this. I remember Corona. Used to have the Corona bottles used to come once a week, and you pay it as a glass bottle. It was about a litre and a half, I think, glass bottle. And on the top was I think in the old days 5p and eventually 10p, and you used to get 10p written on the tops of the bottles. And what would happen is every time you brought a bottle back, or they'd come and collect, every time you got your bottle, you get your 10p back on the glass bottle. But we used to go around and did that. We used to go around, find these bottles, go back and go to a shop and go, oh, there's 10p for that bottle, 10p for that one. And you'd get your 10p's. And the thing is, the shop owners, they didn't mind. Because what you tended to do is you'd get the 10p's back from these bottles, from the shop owner, and then buy sweets in the shop. So he was making the money, because he was basically going, well, the kids have given me a bottle, I'll give them 10p, I'll put the bottle back in the thing. When the guy comes, I get my credit for that bottle. So that 10p hasn't cost me anything. Meanwhile, the kids have spent 10p in my shop. I'm up. That's how it worked. And you used to do it all the time. And then for some reason, they just stopped putting the 10p on the bottle. You know. So the principle's there. The principle, it can work. You just have to have an army of children, but it'll work. But here's the thing. That is a great scheme because it was a direct thing there. You weren't getting credits, you know, and all that. You were getting cash to spend in the shop there and then. This DRS scheme, though, it will fail at the first hurdle because all that happens is people go south of the border, buy a load of stuff cheaper, come back, drink it, and go to the local Tesco's or whatever, hand it back and go, give us some money. It's unbelievable, isn't it? They're going to be quids in. This is going to fail on so many levels. But then it's proposed by the Greens. So of course it's going to fail on so many levels. They're all morons. I shall round off and come up. I would like to imagine a world where anyone who wanted to be any kind of representative of the people, be it local councillor, you know, town hall, MP, MSP, mayor, whatever you want. Anyone who wanted to represent other people had to sit and have an IQ test. And I think that they should be slightly above. We're not going to go into the realms of the Einsteins of this world. But let's say 105, just over average. They've got to have a slightly above average IQ. I mean, that would get virtually every Green out of politics, wouldn't it? Because, I mean, they can barely muster 85 as an average between them. Hell, my dog's probably cleverer than some of them. He certainly can understand things better. And that is why they keep coming up with these ridiculously stupid ideas. Now, like I say, the principles are fine. It's the implementation. And they don't sit and look at what they do. They don't look at the costs. They don't look at the consequences. And they don't look at the wider sort of scheme in the round. They don't understand how doing one thing will affect something else, which will affect a third thing. You know, they've got no process understanding either. They're morons. They're absolute morons. And that is why this is doomed to fail. It was always doomed to fail, because when you've got someone who's as intelligent and charming and wonderful as Lorna Slater running it, it isn't going to do anything else but fail, is it? Oh well, never mind, Lorna. Back to the drawing board, because this one is dead. It won't happen. Rishi's got a new one coming in 2025, and it will work. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. Very important. We're getting close to that target now. And then ring the bell so you know what's coming. Leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. Definitely leave a like. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Always recycle your rubbish. Keep place clean. You know, it's lovely. And goodbye.